a lot of times you go over there as a unit. You train with a unit, you deploy with a unit, and then when the unit's time's up, they all come back together. Except the ones that got killed, of course, they're already back. And but once that happens and you get replacements in, you don't get close to them because you're afraid you're going to lose them again. You don't make real good friends, okay, with replacements usually. It takes a while, and you don't treat them right either, okay, because they want to be friends and get close to you, but you don't want to because it's so hard to lose friends. So you kind of keep your distance. And you know, the view back then on Vietnam was completely different like it is now. You know, back then, me and 4 friends, we came back and we landed in Washington State at the airport. We sat there in a restaurant eating, and people came over and spit in our food. You know, and stuff like that.
Because you were Vietnam veterans?
Yeah. Yeah, and it got so bad that we wasn't allowed to travel in uniform the way people treated us, but you could tell by the haircut. But Vietnam, things happened over there shouldn't have happened. But they happen in every war, okay? When you have women and children shooting at you and you can't shoot back, you know, that's terrible. But eventually you're going to have to because they'll kill you. Or like the North Vietnamese, what they used to do, they would go in a village, take all the women and children, and they would tie them arm to arm and walk them towards us. And then when they get close enough, they'd shoot them down and then shoot at us.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. They did that. We went out on patrol one night, and next morning we had a guy missing. We don't know what happened to him and nothing. So we started looking for him. It took us 3 days and we found him, and they had taken him and fixed him like they're going to roast a pig on a spit. They put a spit through his rectum, through his mouth, and put barbed wire around him and just set him up. They didn't put no fire on them and stuff, you know. And it's over there, it was hard because you never knew who your enemy was because they're all the same. You know, World War II, you knew you were fighting the Germans. That was, you know, there was no doubt. Vietnam, just like now, where they are in Iraq, you know, they don't know who they're fighting because they, you know, there's so many different fashions, but yet they act like they're on your side. Like we had a lady, every day at lunchtime, she would walk around our base to a certain spot. And we kept watching her, and every time she did that during the week, the next day she wouldn't come into work, and that evening we would get hit with rockets and bombs and stuff, and they would hit exactly where she walked to. So what she would do, she'd walk from a certain spot to this spot that they wanted to hit and see how many steps it was. So they took a measurement from the spot she left to there, and always hit direct. They hit our ammo dumps, they hit our fuel dumps and all kinds of stuff like that. And underneath, which we didn't know until after we left the base and came back to the United States and the base was empty. Underneath our base was a complete maze of tunnels that they would come in and kill people and do things. They're kind of fighters. They didn't care for, they didn't want to live. They fought. They just did crazy things, you know, and it was hard. It was really hard. And the hardest part is you had no support from back here, okay? And the first 19, 20 years after